SUZUKI Boulevard 1400cc. It's the S-83 model. This is a 2008. And I noticed last year, sitting in traffic, the motor got a little bit warm. Luckily the pipes are still nice and chromy, but I felt that it got warm and the performance was a little weird. So I'm going to show you how to put a fan in here. Put a fan in there, and I got the fan and it's a very simple operation, and I'm going to show you how to do it. But first, you got to put something on your front fender, a cushion. And otherwise, when you take the bolts out of here, there's 4 bolts. There's 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top. This will flop forward and it will do some damage on your fender. So put some cushion on your fender, no matter what it is. Just do that. That's number 1. So while I was at this, I figured I would clean my air filters. And what you have to do is you have to slide the tank back or take it off. In this case, I just slid the tank back, but I put lots of cushion up underneath there, and it's sitting there nice and snug, so it won't fall off. And this air filter in the front, it's between these 2 harnesses. Now, it's a little tricky to get in and out, and if you have your oil cooler forward, you can get up underneath here and get that bolt. There's a bolt right there. Bolt right there. Otherwise, it's really tricky to get to. There's the bolt that holds the front casing in for it. Now, otherwise, you have to take the side cover off, which I have off, and you have to kind of get your hand in there. And both sides, it's tricky. It's very tricky. So I just plop this guy forward, and I'll show you the installation on the fan. It's really cool, really cool. So getting back to up here on the air filter, you got cables that are holding this puppy in here, and it slides out in between there. The whole thing comes right out of there. So I already cleaned the filter, and I sealed the canister up, and of course I have a rag in there so nothing gets in, and I put a rag in the carburetor, because that carburetor is right there and it's wide open. You don't want to drop anything in. So actually, it's a little bit of a maneuver trick to get this down in there, and it goes in pretty snug. There's a bolt that goes in right over here. I'll show you that from the other side. Bolt holds it in there, and of course the one in the front up here. And that's the easiest way to get this out. You pop your tank back, take your side cover off, and if you can get your hands in there to get this bolt, without taking a filter out, good luck. You could do it. You can get a wrench in there and pop it out without bringing this forward, but it's much easier. So here's the fan, and all the fans that I looked for, you had to buy the oil cooler with it. You had to buy this whole unit. This entire unit you had to buy, which was like $400. But mine's in perfect shape, and it's all good. So I got this fan, and it comes with a couple of filters on the front, and it's a 138 CFM fan, which is plenty for what I need to do. And I'll show you, and I'll give you the dimensions for it and how to get it. I think it was around $48. It was under $50 for this, but it seems like a really good fan, and it fits so nice in here. Okay, let me get on the other side and I'll show you. So here I am on the right side of the bike. So I'm gonna snap this fan right in here. There it is. It snaps right in perfectly. So I center it up, and I put some Velcro here on either side. Back on the left side of the bike, I snap the fan in, and I already put some silicone on these wires, and I put wire loom up, and this is a 3-wire outfit switch. So up here I had to junction it. There's a junction right here, so I junctioned it and I ran the loom up to the switch, and I'll show you the switch in a minute. But this snaps right up in there. There's a flange here that holds your wires in between. Make sure you get that. Now, the old screws are short. They're shorter, so you have to get longer screws. So I got some longer screws because the fan is jutting the fan is jutting the oil cooler out a little bit. So what I did was ran it through here and up and in. It's a little bit of a pain getting those in, but they do go in. They do go in, and it looks pretty good. So really, you wouldn't know that the fan is there because it juts it out probably, an inch or so at the most. So in between here, you can see the fan in there, and it's up against the back frame. So I put some Velcro. You can see the fan in there. I put some Velcro to cushion both bottoms because it's going to be riding up against the bottom. You can see where it's going to be riding up against there once I get it bolted down. So, but everything is, it looks stock. You really can't even tell that the fan is in there. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you how I loomed it from the switch. And the switch is up here. It's a switch I got from Etsy. This is the best switch that I could find because you can get all the switches you want for 10 or 12 bucks, and I'll guarantee you they won't last. This one was about $47, and I put it on my mirror bracket because I really didn't have too much room here, and it's a little bit small to go around these big handlebars. I got the wide drag bars on this bike, so it does attach nice and firm right here, and it's a very high quality switch. I'll give you the details on that on your screen and where to get it. But this was about 40 bucks, $47 I think, and you could really tell it's a very well made switch. So, and I ran the wire down the casing through the hole where all the other wires go down through, and then onto the fan. Comes down here onto the fan, and I had to do a junction here, and then back here I tucked it right up against the air filter, and I'm gonna attach these. I'm gonna put some attach giggers on there, and it runs back here, right here, and down and into the fuse box. And the fuse box is right up in there. You can see those two little gold posts right there. Well, one gold post, one right there, and the negative post. And I have these guys all ready to go on there. So what I'll do is I'll get the battery, I'll plug the battery in, and we'll see how powerful this fan is. It's pretty powerful. It throws some really good air. So it's going to pull a lot of air. Again, it was 148 CFM or 138 CFM, and it does a good job, and it's pretty quiet too. So let's plug it in. Okay, I got the battery hooked up to the positive and the negative. Of course, I always like to keep the red positive and the negative another color. So Temporarily I have it hooked up to the battery. I'm going to bring it back here and we'll turn the switch on. And the switch is lighted too, which is very cool. It's a lighted switch. That's why it's 3-wire. Because the power comes back and lights this light. And you can see that the fan is in there doing its thing. And of course, so far, it hasn't overheated to the point where I got yellow pipes or blue pipes. They're all really nice. And it's got 11,000 miles on the bike. It's an '08, so it's doing very well. And meanwhile, while I was doing all this maintenance, I replaced the plugs. There's the right plug that goes in there, which is right there. Very easy to get to. Plug is down in there. See the plug down in there. And right above the plug is a critical component. And make sure that that's on there good. I'll check it. Right above here is the decompression spring or switch, and you have to make sure that this guy is lubricated, because this bike sat a lot in a very clean garage, by the way, and once I picked the bike up it ran really good, but then it started running a little bit weird, so I looked in the manual and it said make sure that these are lubed. There's a spring back here. There's a spring, and this can get kind of crudded up or dirty, so you gotta put some lubrication on here. And this is the cable that runs back, by the way. Let me lift that up, you can see the cable too. The cable that hooks up to it. So, and that goes to the other one. So make sure that your cable moves, and put some lubrication back here. On the right side of your bike you have your rear filter, and it's 2 little hooks that go in, and I already got this all cleaned up and oiled. Very lightly oil it, otherwise if you put too much oil on these filters, the oil will pool down here and you'll have oil running down, which the guy before me, he put too much oil on. But a very light oil on your filter, and these little tabs slide up into here and it snaps down, and then you got a screw that goes right in the middle, and that'll hold your filter in for your back cylinder. Then when you put your side cover on, it's kind of tricky, and I learned this the hard way. Don't ever pull up on it and reef on it, but down here there's a little notch. You can see right through there, if you can see that. And right here's a little notch. Line those up and put that in the notch. Oops, you'll feel it go right down in there. It lifts right up out of there, but you'll feel it go right down in. And then you have your 2 screws, which are in the frame. I always put screws back so I know where they go. And then you have your screws on the top. So when you take this off and you're wondering how to get this off, just lift it, because there's just that one little tab there. It's that simple. Because other people are going like this and you'll tear that little tab up. So just be aware of that. It's very cool. Very nice setup. It's screwed and bolted in, you know, so they're not easily stolen, which is a good thing. Now, I'm not getting paid for this, but this is good stuff. It's called Lube It, and it has Molly in it. It's a Molly lube, and you can lube all. So I just spray a little bit of that on that spring back there to keep it gotta keep some lube on that, because the heat from the motor too is really hard on springs, and it's right there. So make sure you keep that, and the other side has one too, the back cylinder, and that's on the other side. I'll show ya. And that fan really sounds good. So once I put my side cover on, You see the fan housing is in here, and I got everything bolted up. You can see the loom that I have here. I couldn't run it in between here because there's really no way to get it up through there. So I brought it down and to the side. So once I put my side cover on, which goes like this, and one of these bolts right in here, so get my big fat hand out of the way. So there's a screw that goes in here and holds it in, and there's one here and there's one here. So once that side cover is on there and that fan goes on, it's going to keep a lot of that cool air flowing right through the back of the motor, which is very, very, very cool. So once I put the cover on and the fan is on, that air is basically trapped in here, and it will flow over this head and back here to the back head. So I think it's really cool that this fan is powerful enough where it's going to cool that back cylinder much better. And again, my pipes are still nice and chromy. They're not yellow or blue, and that tells me that the carburetors are in really good tune. Because if you have your carburetors off or your ignition is off, you know, you're going to get blue pipes or yellow pipes. That's from what I understand. So everything's really good, and I just wanted to cool this back head a little bit more. I just wanted to you know, take a little bit of precaution, and I spent around $100. Again, the fan was around $47. The switch was about the same, actually, and then you got the loom and the wires, and you just hook it up to your fuse box back there, and I think it'll work out pretty good. So when you're sitting in traffic, you just kick it on. I'm on the left side of the bike, and the fan is still going good. I can really feel that air coming through there. It is pretty powerful. It's gonna pull and cool that oil really nice. So over here on the left side, you got your decompression gig there too. So you can move it. And make sure that you have some lube on there. Spray some lube on that gig. Let it soak in there. Feels better already. So make sure that your decompression spring and cable here are all good to go. They both work in conjunction too. Yeah, that spring's good in there. That spring is good. So, okay, I still got the fan running here, and just to show you that it's pulling, it's holding that piece of paper on there pretty tight, pretty good. You can take anything, it'll hold it on there. So it's pulling air through there, and it's going to cool that oil much better. When you're sitting in traffic and it's 80, 90 degrees out or hotter, you know that you can pop that fan on and it's going to kick out. It's going to cool that oil for this back cylinder here. And of course right here I put a fuse. So in the loom I put a fuse in there. It's a 10 amp fuse. And by the way, the fan is only like 10 amps. And I think the accessory max is 120 for this bike. So you're way below destroying your electrical system. So this only pulls about 10 amps. And I got the fuse here. So it's fused, and just hook it up to the positive and negative on the fuse box, and I'll be good to go. So, happy biking. Stay safe.